Hello, I am making a 4th of July video. We don't celebrate this, but I thought I might just as well make a video and talk a little bit about fireworks and how bad it is. And I also want to talk about what, in terms of dating and the mistakes that men make. And it ties right into the fireworks. So I thought those are two subjects that go well together. And I also wanted to see if this photo might get more views. So I have the feeling it does. Because this is an important subject, and normally I don't make photos like this. It's not my style. But I wanted to see if this gets more views, and I also have hormones too. I'm not a god. Okay. So, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. So, but anyway, so first of all, people who shoot fireworks, that is shooting fireworks is just, this is so incredibly outdated, and it's unethical, it's wrong, it's wasteful. It wastes resources just for people to get some thrill or something. And it's just ridiculous and immature. And it ties all into this subject. This all ties into it. I went to Geneva, Switzerland, one New Year's Eve. It was not July 4th. It was New Year's Eve. In Europe, they don't celebrate July 4th, of course. But New Year's Eve, they used to celebrate with fireworks in Europe. And I think they still do in some countries, but not anymore in Switzerland. They have outlawed this a long time ago already. Switzerland is the crown country of Europe. It really is. And they do a lot of things ethically and better, and everything is more elegant, everything is higher quality, everything is wonderful, great bakeries, restaurants, haute couture, everything the finest, classical music. So I went to the Thérapie Prémale, which is, Geneva is a French-speaking part of Switzerland, and I don't speak French. But my therapist and her best friend, they're both therapists that met at the center in LA, and they both got the certificate to be prima therapists from Dr. Arzujanov. They established a center, Thérapie Prémale, in Geneva, Switzerland. And while I was studying psychology in Germany, I went there a couple of times to get sessions with my therapist Esther Odermatt. And it was nice to see her and Miriam, and I hope they're doing well. So Esther, now a couple years ago, relocated to St. Gallen, which is the German part of Switzerland. I have never been there. So because since then I had already moved back to the United States. But when I was studying psychology and I went to see Esther at the therapy center in Geneva, the one time I went there for a couple of days, and it also happened to be one night was New Year's Eve, and I don't plan for those kind of things. I don't celebrate those kind of things. So it just so happened to be New Year's Eve that one night, and the snow was high in Geneva, and on that marketplace nobody was there. Everyone was already somewhere at a party, and there was this, I don't know, like a donut stand or something in the middle, and there was a guy from India working there. And I was completely alone. I wandered through that snow to get myself something, I don't know what it was, donut or something. And he engaged me into a conversation, and he seemed very nice, and he said, "My friends are they're having a party tonight. You want to come along?" So I said okay, because I didn't have anything else to do. And so we talked about Geneva, we talked about Switzerland, and he said it's very nice they don't allow fireworks. And nobody was shooting fireworks. I never heard, not even, I didn't hear one explosion, or I didn't hear one firecracker. I didn't hear any kind of fireworks whatsoever. It was awesome. It was amazing. And that put me into a much better mood. I felt safer also, because I never know what the fireworks do, where they're gonna land, and what kind of horror they cause, suffering. And there's been so many accidents in the world already because of fireworks. And it's just a nuisance, and it's just very stressful for the nerves. But people think they need to keep this very stressful thing going because of tradition or something, and because of old school, because they don't question anything. So anyway, we went to his party, and they had a dinner in the Hindu style. It was very nice. And we all sat on the floor on this, there was some kind of like a magic rug or something. And we sat on the floor and ate there, and I thought it was kind of nice. It was kind of cool, and it was nice talking to these people, and exchanging information about the different countries. And there was one woman from the Middle East, I think from Saudi Arabia, and it was very interesting talking to all of these people. And the food was very, very good, very excellent, like a curry rice, and was really great, and not one fireworks. And then they listened to some kind of pop music. I'm not familiar with pop music, but I don't know. I didn't even care. They opened their window and they shouted out the window to the other people across that plaza that also opened their window, and they didn't know each other, and they just said cheers to everyone. And they weren't even drinking alcohol, so that was even cooler. And they were just naturally friendly and happy and grateful for everything. And I thought that was very nice. They turned the music up, and so it was very touching and sweet. So things could be done like that, 4th of July, if it has to be celebrated, which I don't do, I don't see the necessity of it. But if it has to be celebrated, we can celebrate that in the garden, in nature, without fireworks. We can sing a song together instead. I know they're gonna be laughing about this. The people, anyone who likes excitement, they're gonna laugh about singing a song together. That is like so different to their energy vibration. It's a clash of energy vibration. That's what it is. But it would be so much nicer to sing a song together, like a folk song, not a rap song, not hip hop, not even heavy metal. I used to be into heavy metal. I'm not listening to any of this stuff anymore. I'm only listening to classical music and to folk music from around the world. Putumayo, folk music, salsa, flamenco, the peaceful, wonderful, upbeat, life-loving music, which is, we exist, so we might just as well make the best out of it and if we don't feel like it, at least act like we like it. Or if we don't like it and don't feel like it, then at least do something to make it better so that we can enjoy this existence, you know. So that is my philosophy of all of this. And that's why I listen to salsa a lot, particularly in the van when I'm waiting for Paul, when he's going shopping, and Papa and I are waiting in the van. I turn the salsa up. Right now I have the Requiem by Mozart in the van, but I'm gonna exchange that into the salsa again because I like to have the salsa in the van during the summertime because that matches. And when Paul gets himself a burrito and he comes back in the van and I'm playing salsa, he goes, "Oh yeah, this is matching the burrito." They even sing about food in some of those songs. So, what kind of songs? They sing about Maria and they sing about tacos, I think, and enchiladas. So, yeah, and it is like life embracing enchilada, embracing whole vegan enchiladas, of course. No chorizo, okay? So, no, 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 okay? So we put guacamole in it, all natural, not the synthetic one. So, and all vegan and wonderful and peaceful and loving and life supporting and gentle and compassionate, you know, the kind life. So yeah, we could do our celebrations like this. Christmas too, any kind of celebration, birthdays could be done like this. It doesn't have to be wild, crazy, you know. Oh gosh, I saw this interview. The Wolf of Wall Street was came to Logan Paul. I'm amazed about this Logan Paul. What kind of people he gets there onto his show. I mean, and that guy is like just barely over 20 and he's already this successful as an entrepreneur and talk show host, and he's doing all of this on his own. I think this is quite remarkable. So I have watched some of his shows. Most of the time it goes on my nerves a little bit because, man, these kids are full of testosterone and young and crazy and a little immature, you know. But, you know, I'm not blaming them. They're young, so they're good people, so they're going to grow up to eventually they're going to calm down a little bit and see things more from above and see and understand more about things. You know, they're puppies right now. But it's but they're really cool people, and so they had the Wolf of Wall Street, who is not a puppy anymore. He's an older guy, and he has way calmed down since his heydays of crazy ass parties. And he talked about these crazy ass parties, and it was very disturbing. And they even, Logan Paul even, he said that guy said something, and then Mike said, "What did you just say?" And then but he kind of screened that out, what he said. So there was one part of it that he only had the beginning and then it was screened out. So I don't know what about a dog. Oh gosh, I hope not, man. I really hope not. I hope not. And he said, well, he didn't. He went in there only because he was curious. He wasn't into violence, so thank goodness. But there were some people that were doing some violent sex and stuff, and I don't know exactly what this was. That's that one scene with the hooker and all of this. And but the Wolf of Wall Street, he seems to be very well together now. He used to be on drugs, but you know, he looks back on that time and he says that's just completely wrong. It's, you know, that's a mistake to live like this. And I'm glad he said that. But people still, you know, they'll see a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, or they'll see this Christian Grey, or they see any of these films, and a lot of people will then think this is exciting and cool or something. And they will imitate this, and people imitate all kinds of shit. People have imitated horror movies. That's why that's why I would never, if I was a producer, I can't do that. This is a really hard work to be a producer. But if I was a film writer or producer, if I had that ability or chance, I would never, ever, ever, ever portray violence just for to see the violence, just like without any message or anything. So as horror movies are, they are just like they're just slaughter stuff that people find exciting, that gets the adrenaline up, and that becomes an addiction. It's very dangerous, okay? And that the the sadomaso stuff then gets portrayed without questioning it, just like portrayed as almost glorified, almost make it chic or something. And then these Wall Street people, then that lifestyle with the drugs and with the cunningness and the unethicalness of corruption and all of this is also then being glammed up, and instead of questioned, instead of really showing how bad it is, showing the negative aspects of it. So they think they show the negative aspects, but they don't. I already know. I don't even want to watch those films. I already know. I can already tell by people talking about it, showing clips and so on. I can already tell it's being glamorized. Then they bring fashion into it. Then they completely. That's like packaging total bullshit, packaging it up with a wedding dress or with roses or something. So that's what they're doing. They're glamming it up, and people then think this is okay, and no one questions it, and they all think it's cool, or they think it's funny, to be scamming other people. And that just makes the world worse, and we want to make the world better. So, it's important that we show the complete negative side of it, the throwing up. I used to party, the throwing up, and that's all I remember now. It's like, the misery, the hangovers, hanging out of a window. My girlfriend hung out the other window, I hung out that window, and we were both at the same time throwing up out of each window, and the people walking by there like, what the heck is going on here? And her boyfriend saying to us, if you don't know how to drink alcohol, then don't do it. And he was laughing about us, and it's not, this is not glam, this is not fun, this is a waste of time. This is a waste of your best years of life, when you're 20 and stuff. Don't waste it with putting toxic substances into your brain and bodies. Don't do it. um, you can't even enjoy anything. You can't even enjoy romance, really, if you're completely wasted. It's not fun. It's ridiculous. It feels bad. If you get a terrible headache, you throw up. I mean, your body wants to get rid of that stuff. It doesn't want that. Your cells don't want that. It can cause cell damage. It can cause neuronal damage also. So, but if we become healthy, it can repair itself later on. But why damage it in the first place? Don't do it. We enter into a new era now, where the new generations, they have a lot of light workers, indigos, and angel souls, and God level souls. That Bella Thorne, for example, is the God level. She's still, partying and stuff like this, but she's learning, and she already sees a whole lot more than most people. So she's learning. She'll understand in the next couple of years. She will understand that this is all complete bullshit. That this is not the way to live, to get completely wasted. So those are all, it's very difficult to, when you're in the middle of this, when you're in your 20s and you are in the middle of this society and they're all doing this, and I was surrounded by punks, and just like Bella, I didn't even get the idea to question this. It was like everyone was doing this and it was hilarious, but we need to really step aside and question this whole thing. Question and this entire frenzy of jealousy and fad, giving into these different fads and whatever we think society wants to see, we will deliver. And as the Wolf of Wall Street said, that every party had to be topped by another party. So everyone wanted to have the crazier, the wilder party, So it had no limit. It was just, it kept going crazier and crazier and crazier until it became retarded and violent. That's not going anywhere. It's not, okay? This is not making the world a better place. And in particular, this is my message to all people. Do not bring animals into those parties. Do not give dogs alcohol. So don't hurt animals. If you want to do it to yourselves, if you guys are into SM parties, and if you want to tattoo yourself, body piercing, whatever you want to do, some people drill holes into their brains, okay? Just don't involve animals into it. If you want to party, do it at a place where there are no animals, where people are not allowed to bring animals in, okay? So if you want to do this, you leave your animal with a good friend in safety, okay? This is very important. Same for children. Don't involve animals and children into crazy parties, okay? Very important message. My parents already partied quite a bit when my brother and I were kids, and they were getting drunk, and we heard these loud men laughing, and we thought this was like, we didn't even question it, because when we're children, we don't question this stuff. We think that's the way life is. No, it's not. Definitely not. So that was one thing that I wanted to say. Very important, And also, I already smelled the kerosene from the neighbors. And I was like, oh shit, now they're going to be barbecuing, and then they're going to be roasting pigs or whatever. And it's just a nightmare, for us, So my husband and I, and Dave also, we do not want to smell roasted animals. I mean, Dave probably would go over there. He would probably go over there and ask them for something. Dave is not. He could live vegan. He definitely could. Dogs can live vegan, but if they have a choice, of course they'll take the protein. Of course, that they take the animal protein. So yeah, it's not fun, to smell this, and I'm gonna stay in the house. I'm not gonna go outside when they're barbecuing there. I don't want anything to do with this, and I think this is wrong, and people should definitely go whole food vegan. It's very important. And now that leads me to the next subject, which is what women find very, very unattractive about men. And I cannot speak for all women, of course, particularly not those women that are living in some kind of religious enclave. So, because that is so far away from my way of thinking. But I tell you how I feel about this stuff, what turns me off. Let's take just one hypothetical example. I am invited to someone's party, which I have been many times in this neighborhood, but I declined peacefully, and I said, "No, sorry, no, we are total recluses. We don't party. We stick to ourselves." And I say this because I know that the subjects of religion and politics will come up, and that's not good. That's like red flag. And they'll say some real crappy stuff, and then I have to put a band-aid over my mouth so that I don't say anything. So that's then, in person, that's a completely different story. Some people, they get so angry, they want to kill me. And that's just too risky. It's just way too risky. Just like in the chat room, people will say, "You're the devil." That's what these people here would say too. And they all think this is perfectly okay to say that to someone. They don't see any problem with that. During 1500, 1600, they have tortured women and some men to death, just because someone said that's a witch. So that was the the witch hunt, the crucible. Arthur Miller wrote a novel about this, how horrific this is. So that finally these executioner people, they finally saw how that it wasn't going anywhere, it wasn't leading anywhere. This executing of people, the violence, and we still have the violence in words. And people it's not legal to do this anymore, but you know some people, they get so worked up in their heads. It's an insanity that they will think, "Oh, that's the devil," or "She's a witch and I better kill her," or then they come and they shoot me or club me down or whatever, or I don't know what they might do. So scary and dangerous. It's not cool. That right there turns me against people, turns me against men. When a man says to me, "You're the devil," it's done. I'm done with it. It's like I'm out the door. Because I find that retarded, to tell you the truth. It's retarded, and it's moronic, and it's insane. It's insanity. Okay? It's psychotic, and it's also, I find it psychopathic to say that to someone. And it's uneducated. It's simply uneducated. Anyone who accuses someone of being a witch or the devil comes from the Christian enclave, and that's insane. As simple as that. That's the same as a Muslim, just as equally insane as a Muslim saying Allahu Akbar, or calling me a whore or whatever, and saying that I need to be raped and killed. It's the same insanity. So all of this is total insanity, and that's like the number one turn. When I see violence in words or action in a man, or even in the books he reads, or the movies, or the video games he plays, I'm done with it. I want nothing to do with that person. That's stupid, retarded, crazy, and criminally insane, and potentially criminally insane. So potentially criminal, potentially dangerous. So I want nothing to do with people like this. I also don't go to a party. I just, a couple of times that I have been invited, also from people on the internet as well. So we're having a barbecue this weekend. Why don't you come over? And I said, first of all, I don't barbecue. I don't eat meat, and I don't drink alcohol, and I'm not into rap music or any kind of pop music, and I'm not into, I ask these people, are you into philosophy? No, they don't even know what philosophy is. So I have nothing in common then. What's the point for me then to go to someone's barbecue party? So, and I feel bad about this because they mean well or they like me or whatever. I appreciate this. I think that's very touching. But I have to be honest. I cannot be hanging out with someone who who is not educated. Okay, this is just, I feel bad saying this, because I feel like this is unfair to say, I don't want to hang out with someone because they're not educated. It sounds very arrogant and it sounds kind of cold. But we have to hang out with these people that we can have a conversation with. I'm not that kind of person who just goes to a party and takes her clothes off. It's not, it's not my style. It's, some people might do it, okay. No, have fun. It's just not my style. I'm not this, not no talking dating type of thing. When you watch my videos, I am into talking, like big time. Yeah. So I want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's like my thing. And I like to read and I'm interested in things and I like to meet people, whether they are men that I am attracted to or just friends or just girlfriends, women friends, people that I meet just want to talk and have intelligent conversations. Talk about something where the conversation is educational and informative and interesting and adds something, and there's an exchange of information that helps all people, that gives people new information and more questions to ask, and information. They don't have to take my word for it, but in terms of, yeah, you're up to something, let me research this, let me find out for myself. That's what I like. And out of this basis of friendship can grow something romantic or sexual or whatever. Maybe also a short thing or maybe a longer thing, whatever. I'm into open relationships anyway, but I'm just saying this is just my general philosophy on it. I'm not looking for someone. I'm married and I am very bonded to Paul, even though we don't have a romantic relationship anymore. I'm very bonded as where my mother instinct comes in, where I feel very protective of Paul and Dave. So if I ever get into a romantic relationship again, if that ever happens again, it would have to be someone who is super interesting, like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Ben Goertzel, people like that. So interesting, or that Andrew Yang, people like that people who are very intelligent, very enthusiastic about something, also pro science, pro singularity, and pro venturing out into space, loving space, loving expansiveness, and seeing no limits to anything. So Elon Musk, I think that's fantastic. He said to his employees, he does not want to hear someone say this is impossible. He doesn't want to hear it, because nothing is impossible. It's just a way of putting your mind into it, really getting into it, meditating on it, and really thinking this through and experimenting, tinkering, and finding out. And then you will see, you will find out, you will see that there is a solution really to everything. And this is so true, and I so 100% agree with that. I've known this for a very long time, very, very long time. I've known this now for over 20 years, what Elon Musk said. It's very true. It can be very difficult to find the solution. It can take 30 years to find the solution, but you can still find the solution. It's, for example, wanting to find out why some people are violent, or why some people are into hurting someone else. It took me a long time. I studied psychology in schools, in private schools, in universities, on my own, reading, watching videos, documentaries over documentaries on the subject. I am more than fascinated with the subject. So I finally came to the solution, to the conclusion. I always knew I will find it. It's just a matter of time. You put your mind into it. Whatever you want to find out. If you want to find the meaning of life or the meaning of your life, you will find it if you put your mind into it. And I can tell you right away, the meaning of life is love, compassion, and making the world a better place. And it takes every single person to help make that happen. Okay, you guys take care. Bye.